Head overseas now in violent clashes between anti-government protesters and Russian police.
Tonight, one of the largest protests in Russia's recent history. Masked riot police confronting tens of thousands of protesters.
President Trump saying today that the American people will soon find out if the United States is going to war with Iran.
Scientists say a new virus related to SARS may be responsible for a mysterious pneumonia outbreak in China.
They're fighting a war here and they're losing. The sheer numbers of people succumbing to the coronavirus is overwhelming every hospital in northern Italy.
In May, the nation's focus shifted to justice and inequality. After the death of George Floyd. I can't breathe! I can't breathe! As if 2020 wasn't hard enough, Hurricane Laura slammed into the Louisiana Gulf Coast in August, one of 12 named storms to hit the United States this season.
Australia is on fire, and it's bigger than you think. 12.35 million acres of land have been burnt by bushfires so far. That's almost twice the size of Belgium.
People don't really understand it until you actually see it coming at you in a wall of flame.
In a time of global pandemic, soaring unemployment, massive wildfires, and racial strife, it feels like the world is going to hell. But it's not.
There's a huge amount of progress that's taken place that a lot of people just don't take into account, especially smart people who are attending to the real problems of the world, but not getting the long-term view. What we have is a news media that obviously focuses on what sells, and that is bad news. Good news is not news, bad news is news. To build a house takes months, years to do. To burn it down takes an hour. Another glitch, of course, is that progress hides itself. As things get better and better all the time, we move on and go, all right, we've got that win. We just take it for granted.
For instance, the world's poorest people have gotten richer at an accelerating pace.
The natural state of humanity is abject poverty. And one of the benchmarks you can look at is what they call absolute poverty threshold, which is living on $1.90 per day per person. What we find is around 1820, 84% of the world's population lived on less than that a day. And that took 160 years for that to get down to only 41%, 160 years. But since then, it's now below 10%. In fact, the last data we have from the World Bank is down to 8.6% and will probably be 5% or less by 2030 if current trends continue.
We are born into a pitiless universe, facing steep odds against life-enabling order and in constant jeopardy of falling apart. We were shaped by a process that is ruthlessly competitive. We are made from crooked timber, vulnerable to illusions, self-centeredness, and at times astounding stupidity. Yet, human nature has also been blessed with resources that open a space for a kind of redemption. We are endowed with the power to combine ideas recursively, to have thoughts about our thoughts. We have an instinct for language, allowing us to share the fruits of our ingenuity and experience. We are deepened with a capacity for sympathy, for pity, imagination, compassion, commiseration. These endowments have found ways to magnify their own power. The scope of language has been augmented by the written, printed, and electronic word. Our circle of sympathy has been expanded by history, journalism, and the narrative arts. And our puny rational faculties have been multiplied by the norms and institutions of reason. Intellectual curiosity, open debate, skepticism of authority and dogma, and the burden of proof to verify ideas by confronting them against reality. As the spiral of recursive improvement gathers momentum, we eke out victories against the forces that grind us down, not least the darker parts of our own nature. We penetrate the mysteries of the cosmos, including life and mind. We live longer, suffer less, learn more, get smarter, and enjoy more small pleasures and rich experiences. fewer of us are killed, assaulted, enslaved, exploited, or oppressed by the others. From a few oases, the territories with peace and prosperity are growing and could someday encompass the globe. Much suffering remains, and tremendous peril, but ideas on how to reduce them have been voiced, and an infinite number of others are yet to be conceived. We will never have a perfect world, and it would be dangerous to seek one. But there's no limit to the betterments we can attain if we continue to apply knowledge to enhance human flourishing. This heroic story is not just another myth. Myths are fictions, but this one is true. True to the best of our knowledge, which is the only truth we can have. As we learn more, we can show which parts of the story continue to be true and which ones false, as any of them might be, and any could become. And this story belongs not to any tribe, but to all of humanity, to any sentient creature with the power of reason and the urge to persist in its being. For it requires only the convictions that life is better than death, health is better than sickness, abundance is better than want, freedom is better than coercion, happiness is better than suffering, and knowledge is better than ignorance and superstition. Thank you.